general rules, regulations, or provision that has been made. Indemnity contract does not have a special treatment, and accordingly, it has been treated as a general type of contract. And here in this case, the nature of contract with respect to indemnity is the concern of expressly promise to save or indemnify. That is, you must have a purpose, motive, or intention to save a certain another person. The person must have actually incurred a loss or a certain damage, and accordingly, the definition must be very clear and definite and specific or concerned the parties to the contract, whether there are two parties, three parties, four parties, or n number of parties, each and every party of the contract is bound by law, and it is always treated as a general contract and not a special contract. Now, specific concern with the rights of indemnity holder. So what are the various rights that have been associated with indemnity holder? The rights of the indemnity holder are given in section 125. That is, first right is right to recover. So a particular person or a particular party of the contract who is giving a right of indemnity holder, he has a right to recover the amount of goods and services. So whatever may be the amount. Now, what he can recover, there are 4 points that is with respect to the indemnity holder. First thing, right to recover damages. So if any damage is caused to you, whether it may be related to your physical damage or a monetary damage, all the particular damages with respect to your products, goods, or services, it can be recovered by the indemnity holder. With respect to the cost, if any cost is being incurred, that is for the cost of transportation, cost of manufacturing, cost of distribution, and accordingly you can recover all the cost from those particular persons who are parties to that respective contract. Next concern, we have all sum. So a particular person who is seen or who has been identified about the indemnity holder, he can sue that particular person for recovery of the particular amount, which is called as in principal also, and the amount of interest also. So if a particular contract has been entered for rupees 10 crore, and accordingly the time duration was was for 1 month, and you have not paid a certain sum of money for around 6 months, then what you can do, you can recover the amount of 10 crore also for that particular principal amount, and the amount of interest, that is for a period of duration of 6 months, that is next 5 months also, you can recover that certain sum of money due to be paid by this respective parties. So at the we have to identify the indemnity contract gives you certain right for recovery of certain sum of money. Particular certain sum of money can be either a principal or a specific amount of interest that has been associated with respect to the banking perspective or banking valuation. Suit for specific performance, you can go to the respective flow, and accordingly you can test that particular code for specific performance of that particular contract also. So if you are willing that the parties to the contract must perform that promises respectively as per the terms and conditions only, then accordingly you can go to the court of law and you can get the certain order for specific performance of that particular contract also. Next thing, now we have completed with the concept of contract of indemnity. Now going with the concern of contract of guarantee. Section 126, Section 123, 24, and 25 were dealing with contract of indemnity. Section 126 deals with the concept of contract of guarantee. A contract of guarantee is a contract to perform the promise or discharge the liability of a third person in case of his default. Now here in this case, what is the differentiation between contract of guarantee and contract of indemnity? That is, actual loss has to be incurred, and accordingly, if the loss is being incurred, then the third party increases or the third party liability commences. Now here in case of contract of guarantee, a contract of guarantee is said to be into existence when the promised or discharge the liability of the third person in case of default. Unless and until the third party is not treated as a defaulted person, then at this stage we can see that the contract of guarantee cannot come into existence. For example, you are availing a certain bank loan. Now, in this case, if you are going for a particular bank to get a bank loan, then what the bank will ask you? The bank will ask you for a guarantor. Now, what is the role or responsibility of that particular guarantor? It specifically means that is, for example, if you are taking a certain amount of loan for a certain business purpose, and the loan has to be repaid after 2 years. Now, whenever you mean to say that you have to repay the loan amount of after 2 years, that after 2 years, if you are not paying, then the guarantor will be held liable. Then the guarantor will be responsible for making that particular payment. So in this case, what do we have to see? We have to identify whether the promisor or the promisee, whether they are performing or whether they are not performing. So if they are not performing, then only the liability starts and then only the liability commences. So in case of the default of that particular person who is the promisor or promisee to that particular contract, the third party comes into existence and the third party has to perform that promises respectively. The person who gives the guarantee is called as a surety, in whose respect is given, it is called as a principal debtor, and to whom it is given, it is called as a creditor. Okay, now let's take an example. For example, Miss Aarti Rathod. Miss Aarti Rathod is a particular lady and she has approached ICICI Bank and she want to take a loan of rupees 100 crore. Now, when 100 crore of loan was being required by Miss Aarti, accordingly what happened, she approached ICICI Bank, the loan was being approved, and accordingly a guarantor was being asked by the ICICI Bank. And for this particular concern, she has given a guarantor, that is Mr. Sanket Charka, and accordingly, I signed that particular document. That is, in case of default of Miss Aarti, I will be making the payment on her behalf. So here, the person who gives the surety, that is the person for whom the guarantor is given, is called as that is, I will be the surety, in whose respect Miss Aarti Rathod will be the principal debtor, and for whom it is given, that is ICICI Bank will be the creditor. So in this case, I will be guarantor for Miss Aarti, and accordingly, if Aarti does not perform her promises respectively, I have to pay that certain sum of money. So in the, for example, the duration for that particular loan is for 5 years. So up to 5 years, there is no liability. And after 5 years, it is been found out that Ms. Aarti is not making that particular payment. Then Mr. Sanket Charka has to come forward and make the payment of rupees 100 crore accordingly to ICICI Bank. So in this case, the contract of guarantee comes into existence. The contract of guarantee can be either in a written format or it can be in an oral format also. So the guarantor or the guarantee can be given in written form or in oral form. So you can sign a particular document, or particular stamp paper or stamp deed can be signed, and based on that particular consent, the guarantee contract can come into existence. Or you can give an oral guarantee for a particular respective parties to the contract also. Features of a guarantee contract: all essential elements of a valid contract has to be performed. So whatever essential elements of a contract are into existence, we have to see that all the essential elements of valid contract has to be performed, and unless and until if any of the point is missing, then the contract cannot come into existence. Minimum three parties. So which are those three parties? The surety, the principal debtor, and the and the creditor. So the essential elements of a valid contract tells you that minimum two parties are required, but in case of guarantee contract, minimum three parties are required. Existing debt is must. So at this stage, there must be a debt or a certain liability that is into existence. So unless and until there is a debt or there is a certain liability, the guarantee contract cannot come into existence. That is, you need to take a certain loan or a certain amount of debt from the bank or a particular financial institution. Default of principal debtor only. When the guarantee contract can come into existence? Only when the principal debtor is at default. For example, whenever, that is at the point of time when Aarti becomes bankrupt or insolvent, only then the liability of Mr. Sanket will arise. Unless and until Ms. Aarti is declared as bankrupt or insolvent, the liability of Mr. Sanket does not come into existence. So the default of principal debtor is must, and unless and until the principal debtor is declared as a defaulter, the liability of the third person or the liability of the guarantor is not coming into existence. Another feature we have already seen, the guarantee contract can be also in an oral format or in a written format also. Some consideration is required. So here at this stage, there is an essential requirement of consideration. That is, the proper value must be there that is associated. The value of this particular contract is either, for example, 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 1 crore, 2 crore, 100 crore, 500 crore, 1000 crore, 10 lakhs, and so on. So here the consideration must be very specific, must be very considered, very definite, and so on. Not relates to misrepresentation. So here there must be no confusion, no doubt in the minds of this particular contract. So whosoever parties to the contract, whether the surety, whether the principal debtor, or whether the creditor, all the three parties to the contract must be very clear about their terms, conditions, rights, duties, and liabilities of this particular contract. So unless and until there is no proper clarity, we cannot treat, or we cannot say that the guarantee contract is in a proper existence. So here in this case, it relates to misrepresentation. If any misrepresentation is found, अगर किसके बीच में कुछ गैर समझ है, then accordingly the guarantee contract cannot come into existence. Now, the different types of guarantee contract. There are major 4 to 5 types of guarantee contract. That is retrospective, prospective, fidelity, specific, and continuing. So under further with respect to section 126, 27, 28, and 29 deals with the different types of guarantee contract. Retrospective guarantee, which is given for an existing debt or an obligation. That is, you are signing a particular contract, you are signing a particular document, you are signing a particular stamp paper for the existing debt or a certain liability, which is of a current nature. Then that particular type of guarantee contract is called as an retrospective guarantee contract. Prospective guarantee contract. Prospective guarantee contract specifically deals with a future debt or future obligation. That is, after certain future, you have to provide a certain concern. That is, for a certain concern that the person will perform in a effective way, will perform in a better way, or will make the respective payment. Then that particular type of guarantee is called as a prospective guarantee. Fidelity guarantee is given on the basis of the conduct of a particular person, that is how a particular person will perform or how his conduct will be in general course of business or in general market situation. So whenever we go to the court of law, that for a particular criminal or a particular person, what do? We provide zamin. So that particular zamin which it is given for a particular criminal or a particular offender, that particular type of guarantee which is given, or that particular type of guarantee is called as an fidelity guarantee for giving a good conduct of that particular person. That what do? We give a certain undertaking, we give a certain guarantee, that is the particular person will perform or will behave in a good way in next concern or the next point of life. Specific guarantee which is given for a specific or a single debt that is there into existence. So if you are conducting or undertaking a particular transaction for a single transaction or a single debt that is into existence, then that particular type of guarantee contract is called as a specific guarantee contract. Continuing, that is for number of series of transactions. So if the number of transactions are quite serious or quite in a serial nature, then accordingly the guarantee which is given for several number of transactions is called as an continuing guarantee. Now further, with respect to the section 130 to 143, specifically deals with the revocation or termination of guarantee contracts. So here, the various notices to creditor, death of surety, variation of contract, release of principal data, compounding of principal data, creditors act, creditor losing authority, invalid contract. It is completely a theoretical perspective. The long question will not be asked. You can go and refer the theoretical perspective. So it is for your homework. You have to read those material. Section 130 to section 143 specifically deals with how a particular guarantee contract can be revoked, how the guarantee contract can come into end, and how the guarantee contract can also be terminated. So if at any stage or point of time you feel that your guarantee contract has to be terminated, the guarantee contract has to be cancelled, then accordingly you have to see that what are the various provisions that have been provided, and all the provisions that have been related with the revocation or termination of guarantee contract are provided in section 130 to 143. So you can refer those sections. Now, rights of surety. So if a particular person who is a surety, that is a particular person who is giving a surety to the guarantee contract, what are their rights? First thing, right against the principal debtor. That is the right of subrogation, right to claim the indemnity, and right to get relief from the liability. So right to subrogation, that is for making a certain amount of payment. So here in this case, what do we have to see? We have to find out about what is the liability against your principal debtor. Now, who is a principal debtor in whose respect you are giving that particular guarantee contract? So if a particular person in his respect, you are giving the guarantee contract, then accordingly you have to see that the payment is made. Accordingly, you have to see the particular party is making the respective payment, but the payment with respect to the principal and interest is also being made, and accordingly the parties are performing their promises respectively. Right to claim indemnity. If a particular parties are not performing their promises respectively, then you have to see that the whatever amount is that is been due, that particular amount is also been recovered, and the recovery is also in terms of the principal and the interest, both the amount. Right against the creditor, that is benefit of the security claim set off and exoneration, that is only on due date. So with respect to this specific creditor, that is the person who is accepting the guarantee contract, his right is to see that the parties to the contract are performing their promises respectively. Whatever amount that has been due in terms of the guarantee contract, that particular amount is been recovered as and when it is been required, and the particular contract has to be performed on specific due date only. So whenever the due date arises, you have to see that the due date arises, you have to see that the parties are performing their promises, either the principal debtor or either the surety, they are performing their promises respectively, and the amount is been recovered. Discharge of surety from liability. So when a particular surety जो guarantee दे रहा है, now the person who is giving a certain guarantee, when he can be relieved or when he can be discharged from the liability. So the various concerns in which the particular surety can be discharged from the particular liability is first thing by revocation. That is, if the parties, now revocation is a particular concern wherein you revoke, you take back your respective authorities, rights, duties, and liabilities. So first thing by notice. So if a particular notice that has been received by a principal debtor or a particular notice been received by a certain bank, then accordingly based on this particular concern, the surety gets discharged from his liability. By death of surety, agar aapka surety hai jo zamindar hai, if the particular surety or the zamindar himself dies, then accordingly automatically the surety gets discharged from the liability that has been arised or that has been created. By the conduct of creditor, that is variations in terms of contract, or by the conduct of creditor or the debtor, that is the principal debtor. So if at any stage or point of time you have either the principal debtor or the creditor, if they change the terms and conditions of this particular contract, then accordingly the surety also has a certain right, certain freedom to change that particular guarantee contract also. security lost by that particular creditor. If the particular creditor loses that particular security, or the particular principal later loses his security, then accordingly, based on that particular concern or the terms also, the liability of that particular person is also been relieved. And lastly, invalidation of that particular contract. So if you feel that the contract is not able to perform, the contract is invalidated, then on that particular terms also, the surety is getting discharged from his respective liability. Okay, that's the concern with respect to the contract of indemnity and contract of guarantee. Now moving with the last perspective, that is contract of agency. So section 82 deals with the concern of contract of agency, wherein what does it mean? A contract where one person is appointed to act on behalf of another. It's called as a contract of agency, wherein you appoint a certain person to act on your behalf. So here in this case, you cannot perform their promises respectively. You cannot conduct their particular activity accordingly. And for this particular concern, what do? You appoint some another person for conduct of those promises or conduct of those activities. So whenever you are appointing some another person to conduct those particular activities, then that particular contract is called as a contract of agency. The person who appoints is called as a principal, and the person who is appointed is called as a principal agent. So the person who is appointing a particular agent is called as a principal, and the person who is appointed as an agent is called as an agent as in terms of eyes of law. And the contract between the principal and agent, that is P and A, is called as an agency contract. Who can appoint agent? Now agent कौन appoint कर सकता है? So major concern, any person of the any person who is the majority of age, who is of a sound mind, can employ or appoint an agent, and as and when it is been required. So what is the essential consideration or major terms and conditions that have been required for employing an agent? That is, you must be of a majority of age. So your age must be above 18, and you must be of a sound mind. And who is a particular person with a sound mind? That is, he is able to take a rational judgment for the terms and conditions of the capability of that particular contract, and that particular person can be called as a person of a sound mind. So if a particular person is of an unsound mind, if he's insane, if he's insolvent, then he's not capable to take a rational judgment about the terms and conditions and validity of this particular contract. So in this case, the person who is of majority and who is of sound mind nature can employ or can appoint an agent for his contract or for his performance. Essential requirements for contract of agency, that is, all essential elements of a valid contract has to be there into existence. So here, for contract of indemnity, for contract of guarantee, and for contract of agency, all essential elements of contract are required. So whichever type of contract may be of your nature, may be of your concern, for all the concerns, the essential elements of contract has to be fulfilled. It has to be into existence. Minimum two parties. So which are the two parties? The two parties are the first party is the principal, and second party is the agent. Next concern, lawful object and lawful consideration. The purpose or the motive or the for what concern you are appointed, you have been creating a principal and agent relationship. That object must be lawful, and the consideration that you are giving or the amount that has been set must also be very lawful. That has to be set and that has to be agreed. Agreement, there must be a proper agreement between the parties, that is in a proper written format. So you have to see that a proper written agreement is into existence, and accordingly the written agreement, whenever it is being created, it is being signed by both the parties. Maybe temporary also. So this particular contract of agency can be for a temporary period. That is, you can create a temporary contract or temporary agency contract for either 1 day, 2 day, 5 day, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, and so on. So it can be for a temporary period, or it can be for a longer period also. Offer, this particular offer, now there must be a proper offer and acceptance between the two parties. That is, one party must give a certain offer and the other party must accept that particular offer. So always there must be a give and take relationship of offer and acceptance between the two parties. Mutual consent, so there must be a mutual consent between those parties, or that is, all the terms and conditions of the contract must be explained to each other, and both the parties, that is the principal and the agent, must mutually agree for acceptance of those particular terms and conditions of that particular contract. Lastly, consideration, the amount of consideration must also be set as and when it is been required. So whatever terms and conditions that you are stating, it must be considered, it must be undertaken, it must be accepted by both the parties. And lastly, no consideration, no agency. So if at any stage you feel that there is no consideration that has been passed between the two parties, then the contract of agency cannot be taken for granted and it is not capable to be accepted. So if the amount of consideration of amount of remuneration is not been decided between the two parties, then the consideration is not to be accepted, and accordingly the agency contract is also not into existence. Now, creation of agencies. So how a particular contract of agency can be created. Section 186 deals with the by express agreement. So you can expressly tell each other, and accordingly, the contract of agency can be created between two parties. So Section 186 specifically deals with a certain concern about the creation of agency contract between the two parties by expression of various fact. So you both the party, that is the principal and agent, specifically expressly tell the terms and conditions of this particular contract, and accordingly you agree to those particular terms and conditions. By implied agreement, that is you imply, that is it is being implied that the particular parties will be performing their promises respectively, and accordingly they will be conducting their activities or offer an acceptance is into existence. Section 237 specifically deals with which are the various implied conditions. Now these particular implied conditions are the condition of estoppel, the condition of holding out, and the condition of necessity. Estoppel means prohibiting a certain person to conduct a certain activity. Now, there may be an agency contract between the two parties for conducting a certain activity also, and there may be an agency contract for between two parties for not conducting a certain activity also. So अगर आपको लगता है कि किसी इंसान ने आपका कोई कार्य नहीं करना चाहिए, आपका वो काम नहीं करना चाहिए, so for not conducting that particular activity also you can conduct or you can create a agency contract which is into existence. So agency for holding out for a certain specific period of time. So for conducting a specific activity for a specific time duration, you can create an agency contract for an holding out nature. For a necessity, for supplying of food, clothing, and shelter, you can appoint an agent on your behalf, and accordingly, a particular person who is a minor, for him, a particular person can be appointed as a part of an agency contract. By operation of law, that is by you can go to the court of law, and accordingly, the agency contract can get registered, and accordingly, the agency contract can come into existence. And by ratification, by changing the various terms and conditions of this particular contract, the contract can be created, the contract can be into existence, and accordingly, by operation or by ratification of this particular contract, the agency contract can come into existence. Next thing, you have rights and duties of an agent. So a particular person who is appointed as an agent. So what are his rights? What are his duties? I have given you as an self-reading exercise. So rights and duties of an agent is given for you for a self-reading exercise. It is completely a theoretical perspectives. You can go back and study at your home what are the various self-reading exercises with respect to agency contract. Now, certain comprehensive case studies I have given you, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 case studies you have to study today. There is State Bank of Saurashtra versus Chittaranjan Rangnath Raja and others, wherein a case study with respect to the cash credit and groundnut oil is into existence. Second case study with respect to Kailash Sharma versus the Patna Municipal Corporation and others, wherein a particular fogging machine is into existence, and a comprehensive case study with respect to all essential elements of valid contract. Next case study you have to study at your home for your homework is Ansel Engineering Project Limited versus Tehri Hydroelectric Power Corporation and another. So a contract for bank guarantee. So specifically the bank guarantee, that is a guarantee contract, where how it can come into existence. That case study you have to refer. And lastly, ONGC versus SBI Overseas Branch of Bombay. That is oil and natural gas company, wherein a particular gas pipeline has to be built, and accordingly a particular contract has been signed between State Bank of India, that is SBI. So what are the various terms, conditions, essential elements, and how a particular two government organizations can come to a certain specific consideration. So 4 case studies for your homework. You can clearly see it. You can take the screenshot also. I'm sharing the PPT also. That is State Bank of India versus State Bank of Saurashtra versus Chittaranjan Rangnath Raja, Kailash Sharma versus the Patna Municipal Corporation, Ansel Engineering Project versus Tehri Hydroelectric Power Corporation and others, and ONGC and State Bank of India Overseas Branch of Bombay. With this concern, we come to the end of chapter number 1, that is Indian Contract Act, that is ICA of 1872. That's all for today's lecture. If you have any difficulty or questions, you can please unmute yourself and ask me the questions, or you can drop the questions in the chat box.